time to get geeked up.
But in things we do understand more, though, in current news, the Super Bowl was just last Sunday. Come on, it's the Super Bowl, baby. Ron Berman's jumping up and down right now. Old Boston Ron flipping out because Tampa Bay Buccaneers, starring Tom Brady, beats Kansas City 31-9.
I mean, we're clearly going to be focusing more on the commercials here on this show, though, because, like you said, it's the Geeked Up Podcast, and good for Tom Brady. Congratulations. I guess about old Ron Berman and Boston Ronnie, but what did you feel? I guess just one, ratings note for the Super Bowl, but the ratings were down overall. It was, one of the worst-rated Super Bowls in the last 15 years, which I thought was kind of surprising, just since there's nothing else going on in the world, no other fucking options, no movies to go see. But the ratings on a local level were higher in Boston than they were in Tampa Bay, which is interesting.
That blows my mind.
Kansas City obviously had the first, had the highest ratings, and then you'd figure the city with the second highest ratings would be Tampa Bay, the other team playing in the Super Bowl. But the city, by a pretty significant margin, the city with the second highest ratings was actually Boston, for the entire fucking city tuning in to watch Tom. And honestly, for me, that's surprising, because as a big, grew up a huge New York sports fan, you grew up a Philly sports fan for the most part. Are you telling me if one of the players like McNabb left the Eagles on his own volition, not got traded, but left, maybe Iverson in Philly because he was beloved, but if Jeter decided to leave the Yankees and went to another team, I don't know if the whole city would be fucking rooting for him to win the Super Bowl, No,
I think you'd be calling him a traitor.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely think if somebody left the Phillies and they fucking went to win a World Series with another team, I don't think everybody in Philly is going to be watching him fucking hoping that he wins, if they get traded, it's a different story. If the team, Piazza
Correct.
with the Mets, the team didn't want him, so when he came back, he was everybody felt, the Mets did him wrong, so they rooted for him. You know what I mean? But if you leave on your own, I feel you're going to lose some support.
Neither of us have ever been rooting for a team, though, where the guy has won a 6 championship.
Yeah, I guess that's a great point.
After that, it's
that's
just
a great point.
Do whatever you want. You use McNabb as an example. The only thing that guy left us with was so that's how overtime rules.
Yeah, dude, I saw your face when I brought up McNabb. You were immediately just oh, wait a minute, I'll bring up that piece. But you're right, dude. I guess I didn't consider as somebody that's fucking. I guess Eli won 2, and he could do no wrong in my book. But you're right. That's a good call. But in general, I found that interesting, especially with the Super Bowl in Tampa. You'd feel like everybody in Tampa would be watching.
Though, but Boston is probably fucking 3 or 4 or 5 times the size of Tampa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to see. I bet statewide, fucking everyone in Florida was watching the Super Bowl versus Massachusetts. Citywide, sure, Boston had more views than Tampa. But statewide, the state of Florida,
I don't know. I bet you all throughout Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont, they were all watching fucking Tommy.
But you're talking the city of.
I don't know how they ever just calculate local ratings. I think it's probably on an average per household or whatever the fuck. Anyway,
but before, you said too, like I said, fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers win their second Super Bowl. Tom Brady wins the 7th, 31-9. Blah blah blah. There was plenty of commercials to talk about.
Yeah, really burying the lead with
the commercials. Though we got to talk about my personal 3rd Geeked Up Man of the Year early nomination, but Yuri Andrade, better known as Super Bowl Streaker. But then once you hear why he did it, it's just oh, dude, is this guy the biggest fucking genius in the world? Because he made a prop bet on a Vegas fucking casino, 750-1, that there would be a streaker on the field.
That's his claim. This is all highly speculative.
Exactly. This is claim too. This guy won $370,000 on that bet, and dude, I hope to God it's true.
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it's not true, because if it is, that's I feel like it's I root for because I root for these just to be organic nut jobs that were with his buddies and dude, I would be rooting for it to be just on a solid dare with his buddies more so than fucking a crafty way to gain 300. But as well, there's also rumors that he had a logo of a podcast or a webcast on his
Geeked Up.
I don't think we were paying out $347, but there was like a logo that might have sponsored the whole thing, and that was another like rumors that they had paid him to do it. Like the people that like bathing suit that he was wearing, that like Borat style bathing suit, had a logo of a show on it, and people are saying that maybe they gave it to him because I feel like it would be highly illegal to place that bet and then fucking go out and make it happen. Like, I feel like the sports book wouldn't like have a rough time paying up if you directly fucking caused it.
I believe what's happening now is this guy more or less is like the GameStop of streakers and prop bets, is because I believe now this sporting betting site is now having to pay out the people who did bet on it honestly that there would be a streaker.
Okay,
but then like paying people back that said there wouldn't be.
Okay,
but then also making sure this guy and his affiliates aren't getting money. It's a whole fucking like. So in that aspect alone,
I mean, just, like it should honestly be
the prop market.
Yeah, like it's honestly, I think that as well. I believe it to be a rumor because if it was, you can very easily verify whether or not a bet of that large sum was made on a prop like that. Like we find out about all the bets that get made. Like that company would definitely be able to verify that there was a $75,000 bet on such a.
Well, that's the thing. That's what they're saying. I mean, if this guy literally did it or not, or if it is like a legitimate bet. The site is already saying that there was like weird numbers with that certain bet of the streaker bet.
Okay,
so it looks like they really did fuck with the betting thing. But now they have to like.
Maybe he was smart and just did it over like a whole lot of people as opposed to one lump sum, which would raise red flags. So maybe he did, dude. Honestly, that would be very, very an interesting twist. I mean, I would definitely be, for sure. I would still be happy with him. He's a Geeked Up Man of the Year, no matter what.
Yeah.
Geeked Up Man of the Year, no matter what. But really stealing the show in that fucking boring, shitty Super Bowl as well. And as well, there's fucking 35% capacity in the stadium, and yet somebody fucking sneaks onto the field. The security couldn't handle fucking 35. A month after the Capitol, a fucking guy makes it all the way to the 50-yard line in the Super Bowl with 35% fucking fans in the crowd. Like, what the fuck?
Dude, fantastic. I will say, too, about the 35% capacity, it really looked like to me that like the first 35 rows were packed to the fucking gills, and then a lot of those cutouts were in the nosebleed. Except like one dopamine up there, like, ooh, I paid $5,000 for this bill.
Guy's like, smoking a bowl up there, fucking
looking at Ed Norton.
Yeah.
But the front rows didn't look like they were social distancing at all. And I was surprised it was 35%. Florida was like, no, dude, fill her up, baby. And NFL was like, for face value, we can't do.
100%. Yeah.
We want to, but enough of the stupid game. Let's get into some of these Super Bowl commercials, baby. And
a lot of geek faves. Did you have any? We already brought up the teaser about Costanza. That was really the highlight for me, I'd say.
That was because there's so many on that one, dude. That's funny enough. And I even said it to AH, and I think I texted you during the commercial. Like, I already ordered Jason Alexander hoodies for you, me, and Ani R, who's an old Seinfeld Georgian fan, dude. That's amazing. But, dude, that commercial was great for so many reasons. One, Jason Alexander was at the end of it. He's like kind of more or less doing a George. He's you can't wear my face. But the song playing in the background.
Yeah, for sure.
Right out of his Seinfeld episode, but also
was
like
the Believe It or Not, George isn't at home, which was a total mindfuck when you actually heard that was a real song as somebody who exclusively associates that with the Seinfeld episode.
Dude, the commercial was fantastic.
Where could I be?
And I said to AH too, dude, just like how many of these things are now like, how much money is Tide? Because I believe it was a Tide commercial.
Yeah, for sure.
Detergent. They just now made $500 million selling.
This is going to be one of those situations like Viagra, where it's time to change the business model from selling bleach to selling Jason Alexander hoodies, because honestly, it's going to be way more profitable than fucking laundry detergent.
If Jason Alexander had a good agent, he's like, dude, I'll do the commercial for industry standard and 10% of like profits.
10% of said hoodies.
Jason Alexander is now like Elon Musk.
Yeah, no, for sure. That was definitely a favorite. Although I'd say a close second wasn't the hardest laugh I got all night, even harder than the Jason Alexander commercial, which was just sheer brilliance. But for me, the single isolated hardest laugh I had all night was the Butthead "She Said Crack." Fucking literally text you immediately after. But the Beavis and Butthead like role in that. I think a Universal streaming commercial, but with all sorts of different, celebrities and characters from, crossing movies and TV shows and all sorts of reality stars and everything all jumbled up in the same, ongoing themed commercial with Butthead really stealing the show with that one.
She said crack. Dude, again, watching stuff like that, dude, it's so hard. I feel like a recovering addict, not to make light of that, but I feel so hard to, like I've said before, and maybe on this show, there was a good 2 years of my life where I would only talk in Beavis and Butthead voice. Okay? I'd be like, oh, that's lame. Yeah, lame. Good 2 years of my life. But I would say, and that was I think it was a commercial for Paramount Plus, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Paramount now has its own streaming service.
Yeah.
But it turns out CBS All Access is turning into
interesting. Okay.
Paramount Plus. But say goodbye to local cable. Speaking of which, though, other goodbyes, the Uber Eats commercial about shopping local, but with Wayne Campbell and Garth.
Yes.
With Cardi B, dude. That commercial to me made me laugh so hard because it was stupid, dumb Wayne's World. But then when Cardi B was just like, oh, and Wayne just looks at the camera, he's like, all right. It was just the funniest Wayne Campbell commercial. Just because it was so just prevalent of how good Wayne's World still is. Oh yeah, that's why it was still funny. Even though Mike Myers looks almost like a blown up balloon too far now, he fucking still can do the Wayne
yeah. They're both thrown. They're not looking great in the Wayne and Garth costumes, but they can get them on. But they're another one, kind of a geeked up favorite, but and I guess a shout out to Netta Raw, but the Will Ferrell Iceland Sweden commercial, fresh out of Eurovision, and Will Ferrell reprising his role as the fucking hilarious dude from Eurovision, but.
Dude, and getting the countries wrong. He gets the countries wrong in that commercial. He's like, I'm in Sweden. They're like, you're in Norway. I was like, this felt like how I felt during the Eurovision thing.
Yeah.
Annetta, sorry, where are you from again?
But
that was a great one. I would say that to me, and again, dude, it was one of those commercials that I think I would have thought was so much more funnier or just gave a shit about if I was in my 20s. But it was the legends of Budweiser. And sure, some of the guys I forgot about, Mr. Doing is something, man.
Yeah, that guy was awesome.
And there's I love you, man. Still can't have my Budweiser.
Yeah.
Of course, there was the Knights. But, dude, real missing thing was the Budweiser frogs of just the Bud.
Yeah, the Budweiser frogs.
Budweiser frogs.
How about what's up guy? Was he on there? Was what's up?
And I think to me, dude, the reason they let the Budweiser frogs out, because to me, I was saw that commercial and I was like, oh, dude, I just want to do the frogs, the fucking frogs. And I got over it. I'm like, why no frogs?
No
and
frogs?
I kind of remembered that the frogs were the Joe Camel of Budweiser. I kind of remember in 5th grade of just a kid walking into the classroom being like, Budweiser frogs. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Those frogs are the best.
No, you're right. That was bordering on them getting their own sitcom, the fucking Budweiser frogs. That was a fucking huge pop culture craze for sure.
R.I.P. Caveman Geico show. But yeah, dude. I would say the one commercial, I guess there's one more. The Samuel L. Jackson being a video game character yelling at everybody and then get eaten by a shark at the end was very funny.
I missed that one.
That was a good one. But the one commercial I think that we can all just universally as a country, and I think this commercial had the effect it was looking for, but not quite of what they thought, but it was red or blue, left or right, north or south. I think right in the middle, we all hated the fucking Bruce Springsteen commercial.
Yes, that's such a good call. Unifying the country, and what a douchey, and the douche chills that we all got sitting through that Bruce commercial.
In the middle of the country, there's a chap.
Yeah, dude, like how out of place. Bruce looked about as out of place wearing a cowboy hat as I would have looked wearing a cowboy hat.
He's from Jersey. Isn't he a Jersey guy?
Yeah, he's like Jersey's fucking like the proud boardwalk fucking representative. He like defines like a factory out of work factory blue collar culture, not like fucking heartland of America running his hands through the dirt in an awkward cowboy hat. Blue collar America. But you're right, that had the same reaction that like all of those quarantine videos of the celebrities singing Imagine and all of that shit. It was the exact same feeling of just like this disingenuous douche. Fucking. But especially with Bruce doing the whole meet in the middle when he's like so notoriously a big Democrat and a huge lefty, and you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to meet in the middle. What half of your beliefs are you going to stop believing in, and what half of the right-wing, people's beliefs are you going to start believing in to meeting him in the middle? Or are you going to just fucking hope that all of them start to believe everything that you believe?
Bruce Springsteen, to me, being like far on the left, is like finding out our friend of the show, Secret Agent Ronnie, is far to the left. I was like, what do you mean? Mechanic, work in the factory, Bruce Springsteen doesn't like Trump.
Jersey guy, Bruce Springsteen.
About? The commercial was so cheap. And it was the first time Bruce Springsteen's ever made a Super Bowl commercial, or I think a commercial. And it was like, this is where you, this has to be said.
Well, Bruce needs to make some money because his tickets aren't selling for $800 a pop on Broadway anymore. So he's struggling for cash. So it's time to
breaking just today too is that Jeep started pulling that video from the YouTube page because it turns out he had a DWI. Jeep were like, "Oh, we don't want anything to do with."
That's where they're saying they fucking are pulling the video, but they're pulling it because everybody in America fucking hates it. But I mean, Bruce is like getting a DUI in Jersey. That's what we call the Jersey driving test. Getting a DUI. That's fucking. That's part of. That's.
Oh, is that what you guys call it? We had a different name for it from Florida. It was called having a driver's license.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so Bruce enters the fine list of the Geeked Up boys that fucking.
Welcome to the club, Bruce. We can meet in the middle, brother.
Yeah, something we can all agree on, but.
But I think the one commercial we can all agree on, again, aired a little too early. I think they should have been aired around halftime show, but let's give it up for the Falcon Winter Soldier commercial, showing a little more scenes and getting a release date, obviously, of March 19th, which really is like right behind the end of WandaVision, which we'll talk about in a second. But for
right
Disney
around the corner
Plus,
as well.
Taken well over a year to get these Marvel shows out. Now they're like, all right, dude, look. We did so well with The Mandalorian. Now we got to fill the time between The Mandalorian. Yeah. We thought our Marvel shows were going to be the real thing, but now it turns out you guys love The Mandalorian so much. But Falcon Winter Soldier kind of looks to be more of like what Marvel's known for, more of an action series, more of a
more traditional than WandaVision for sure. It looks like it's probably going to be more in the line of like a 6-hour movie broken up over different episodes than it is going to be like even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of the other kind of sitcoms or any other kind of episodic shows we've seen from Marvel.
Yeah, Falcon Winter Soldier, and it also looks like just like a sequel to Avengers. Because you remember at the very end of the Avengers, Chris Evans playing Captain America, he hands the shield to Falcon, and he's like, "All right, you're the new Captain America now." And you see in the trailers that Falcon's throwing the shield, Winter Soldier, Bucky is also throwing the shield. But then you see somebody dressed up, and you're like this. You see somebody dressed up during the football scene, and then he's like dressed up as Captain America, and he's giving high fives. In the comics, that's U.S. Agent. And that's kind of what they're doing now is they're kind of like putting in, that's the thing in this new show coming up, that the government is putting in like a new Captain America that like they're picking, and the guy's name is U.S. Agent, but he's played by Wyatt Russell, as you would know him as, Kurt Russell's son.
Okay, nice.
Captain America.
Breakout role for Wyatt Russell. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, nice.
So it just looks like a fucking awesome
that sounds like
show.
a cool character, like a government-appointed Captain America that then beefs with the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
And then eventually, kind of breaks bad.
Yeah. Of course,
But,
if he's a government person, of course he's going to be. He's eventually going to be the villain of the. But that definitely, like you said, it looks much more traditional MCU. My kind of concern is that just with Disney Plus now, they're starting for content to fill up on all these things. So would this not just be a better off as a fucking hour and 45-minute 2-hour movie telling the story than a 6-hour tale? Are they going to have to just fill up they're going to have to just fill up time in these episodes in order to make it just because they have to put something on Disney Plus? Is this any more logical as a series?
I do see it as a series. Kind of like a building up, dude. I mean, an hour and a half. And again, I think you are right. You could do an hour 45, 2-hour movie. But I do like the series approach because, unlike kind of what you mentioned, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., now we're actually getting actors, big movie actors, being in these series that are run by Disney+.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like they now have the money to throw at these series.
Yeah, for sure.
Have, we spent $500 million on this series that I think I do like a good slow burner, and it might be kind of like a spy thriller. You know what I mean?
I just feel like it's the same kind of the same kind of and my fear, obviously, because it hasn't come out yet. But one of the things that I didn't necessarily like about The Mandalorian, and I will talk about WandaVision, but I do like what they're doing with WandaVision, is that they just don't necessarily have enough time. You don't have 10 hours worth of a story, so you have to just fill up the time a lot more.
Let's get into WandaVision though for a second, because I would say that I see your point with Falcon Winter Soldier. With WandaVision, I can't see a world where this would be a movie. To me, WandaVision only makes sense as a series.
Ooh, baby, it's time to get geeked up.